Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I'm Mike Train.
And I am Ice Shane.
It was hard to pick a nickname.
Yep.
I was like, well, whatever. Ice Train. I should have known better.
Welcome to episode 199, WCW Monday Night Nitro.
Holy shit, 199?
Wow.
On the cusp of 200. Crazy.
We've been doing it for a minute.
I mean, yeah, we definitely have. There's so much wrestling I've watched.
Oh, yeah. I joined in the early 60s.
62, I think it was.
Something like that. 62, and then came on permanently at 65 or 66, so...
That first year, you move through a lot of time pretty quickly.
Yes.
Slows down more every year.
The further you go, the more it takes to get through a year.
By the time we got to ECW, we're really slowed down. We've covered so many ECW shows.
Yes. Thank you, rotating champions.
There's definitely three different products at the moment. That's for sure. You can't say they're all the same.
Definitely not.
Nope.
But be it production value or styles of matches, So there is variety at the moment.
So this was the 33rd episode of Nitro, produced by WCW. It would take place on April 22nd, 1996, from the Albany Civic Center in Albany, Georgia. But it would be a taped show that would be shown on April 29th, 1996, with a TV rating of 2.1, because it aired at 7 o'clock before a basketball game, instead of at its normal time.
Ah.
Is 2.1 good or bad?
It was definitely lower than what they were used to.
Okay.
It was like an entire point less than what they were used to.
Okay. So, yeah, because people were just like, if I'm going to tune in, this is when I tune.
And the reason that they did the tape was because a lot of the WCW guys were over in Japan doing a New Japan show called Battle Formation, which we're not covering. But
what was the highlight?
I believe that's the show that Shinya won the belt back from the guy who wanted it. January 4th show. I think that's what happened.
Battle
Sorry for asking.
Formation.
But, I love me some Shinya Hashimoto.
96.
Maybe I'll check out the match.
We have Ishizawa and Nagata over Kanemoto and Otani.
Just give me that headline match.
Headline match. All the way at the bottom, Hashimoto over Takada.
Yeah, Takada. The guy from...
UWFI or
UWFI.
Yeah, UWFI. I always want to say, is it UWFI or UFI?
UWFI.
That's the invasion angle. That's what inspired the upcoming NWF.
Savage had a match.
Savage over Tenzin.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds kind of like a fun show.
There were some interesting WCW inter-promotional matches, but there wasn't enough there to
cover it. Yeah.
Hawk Animal and Power Warrior over Rick, Scott Steiner, and Scott Norton.
Sounds like no one's really getting lifted for
Shono.
No one's selling in that match.
if the big bump guy is Rick Steiner in the match.
Tenryu over Fujinami. Great Muda over Shinzaki. Great Sasuke. Or Sasuke, however the hell you pronounce it.
Sasuke and Liger.
Over Liger,
yeah.
The Macho Man working New Japan is maybe the most interesting.
I think that would be a good match. I mean, it's a 10-minute match.
He's got when you think of WWF style, I kind of immediately think of like Macho Man in a way. He just kind of fits that 80s period of it so well. 'Cause he's so over the top. Everything's simple to understand.
He would have been so over in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, sorry for that.
No worries. But we are in Georgia.
We are indeed.
So what deliciousness did Shane bring us this week?
Well, here we are. In Georgia. Have we ever been to Albany, Georgia before?
I don't think we've been to Albany, Georgia.
I didn't know
I
there
know
was
we've been
an
in
Albany,
Georgia because I brought a couple of things from there before. But I did what I do, where I look up to see popular foods, beverages, desserts.
T-shirt idea. I did what I do.
I did what I do.
I did what I do was pretty good. I was like, damn shame.
I mean, that's kind of that, yeah. But it'd have to have the at the very beginning of it.
Course,
that's usually how it starts.
Yes, that is exactly.
Yeah, I did what I do sounds like a quote from The Wire.
We should just change the segment to, I did what I do.
There you go. I did what I do with Shane, or in this case, Shane. Yeah, so I did what I do. Got on the interwebs and looked up popular foods, beverages, dessert ideas, whatnot from the Georgia area. I didn't specify Albany. I just picked Georgia as a blanket because I don't
It's
really
nice
know
and warm
Albany.
and comfy and cozy.
Yes.
I imagine Albany's probably just like a suburb of Atlanta or something. You don't have to look it up. But there can't be that many places in Georgia anybody gives a shit about. So I mean that respectfully.
I passed on the sandwich. I think I've already done the sandwich. I passed on the cocktail, and I went straight for dessert because it's
Short
a
and
quick
sweet.
show. Exactly. Short and sweet show. We should have a quick, sweet dessert to go with it. Georgia is known for their peaches, but I think I brought something with peach already. I may be wrong, but I just totally went around the peaches because that's just basic for Georgia. But I looked up and found that one of their more popular desserts there is the buttermilk pie. If you've never had buttermilk pie, Michael and I discovered tonight that buttermilk pie and something known as chess pie are very serious. Chess, C-H-E-S-S, not chest as in boobs.
Sable.
But yeah, buttermilk pie is similar to and sometimes confused with chess pie, but it does not include cornmeal, which is used in the chess pie to thicken it up a little bit. This one just uses a mixture of sugar, butter, eggs, buttermilk, and all-purpose flour. You can doctor it up with vanilla, lemon zest, nutmeg, coconut, whatever your taste buds desire. There are several places here in Oklahoma City that sell them. Unless, of course, I'm actually seeking them out, then those places are closed or have recently switched up their menu. But thankfully, I can't believe I'm saying thankfully because I'm not a fan of this person, but thankfully, Toby Keith, I Love This Bar and Grill, has buttermilk pie on their dessert list.
Cut and paste that line for his memoir.
He is I guess, is he the guy that has the song that's I Love This Bar?
Yes.
And that's why it's called. I never realized that was his song. I love this bar.
I'm surprised. Who knows? He may have a bar called Bread Solo Cup too, because that's another one of his drinking.
All
songs.
the drinks come in red Solo cups.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that. See, I don't know this much.
I went
because
there once. It was somebody's birthday. I don't remember it.
As a lifelong fan of the Dixie Chicks, I still have a FUTK shirt at home just because.
So how do you like him now?
He didn't make the pie.
I'm trying to think of another song lyric that I can throw back, but all I can think of is Kenny Chesney. He thinks my tractor's sexy, but
Oh yeah.
I'm sure it's as good as that once was.
One of my favorite
or as good once as it ever was.
favorite riffs on
Yeah.
the podcast ever was these guys just making up country songs, and it's like I love this bar. There's a lot of hot guys here, and I think about it and sing it all the time. It's very funny.
Can we have a little less talk and a lot more action?
Oh, good lord. Yeah, see, I'm trying not to participate in these song lyric things, even though I know they are Toby Keith song lyrics. But yes, buttermilk pie. I'm not gonna lie, this is actually a tasty pie.
Me too.
It's very rich.
You're not gonna lie?
That's a song.
I know.
Me Too's a song title as well.
Yeah.
Pre the movement, I'm sure. I can't imagine Toby Keith had a lot to say about that.
No, Toby Keith has a lot to say about a lot of things. At least he used to. I haven't heard much from him in a while. I hope you're getting better because I don't wish cancer or terminal illness on anyone. But I wish you made better music and weren't such a tool in public. But anyways,
But what are we talking about?
You've got a great buttermilk pie here. Shut up, Matt, with your damn lyrics.
He's having a blast over here.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, buttermilk pie. It's nice and sweet, very simple. Theirs is topped with just some
Got
homemade whipped cream.
Yeah.
I like mine drizzled with a little bit of like fruit sauce or preserves or something like that. A raspberry sauce, a strawberry sauce. I doctored it up with a maraschino cherry just because it needed some color. But yeah.
Yeah, that is one thing
Tasty.
about it, is that it is about as beige gets.
Yes, I mean it's got a good golden color on the top when they,
Yeah.
when it's baked up right. Nice flaky crust, nice creamy ingredients.
I will say that it is rich as hell.
Yeah.
That slice could have
It's
been
very
half the
rich.
size, because if I start to nod off, I might need to get my blood sugar checked.
I mean, yeah, it's good.
I think it'd be good with coffee.
Any other one-liners you want to throw out there, Matt?
Nah.
Nah.
Maybe
All
something
right.
about a truck.
Maybe beers ago I would have, but
Jesus.
I prefer whiskey for my men and beer for my horses. So.
Is that him too?
can we just get drunk and be somebody?
I was somebody before I was drunk.
Yeah, that's all I got to say about Toby Keith's I Love This Bar. I've stepped inside of one officially. I made it to the host stand, and luckily they have their pickup window right there. So
Yeah.
2 steps in.
When you walked into the
turn
bar,
around, walk
did you
out.
think that there was a lot of hot guys in?
No.
I imagine most of the clientele.
Did you feel like you should have been a cowboy?
That's Kid Rock, right?
No.
I'm just kidding. I know, but it's similar.
No,
He says,
that's,
"I'm a cowboy," not "I should have been a cowboy."
Now I gotta look. What can I tie this up with?
Well, courtesy of the red, white, and blue, we can move on
Thank you.
to something that happened right around the same time
God, I wish I
as
didn't know.
Nitro. The Cranberries' third album,
See, I
To
can
the
talk all about
Faithful Departed, would be released the same day, containing songs such as Salvation, Free to Decide, Hollywood, and When You're Gone.
So the other singles are off the album before this.
them. Possibly
like
the
Zombie-
2 albums before.
Yeah, Zombie and
Linger.
Linger from the albums before.
Okay, because I was like, I only know Salvation. I've never listened to a Cranberries record. I know all 3 of those songs very well because, well, they've been played regularly since they came out.
Free to Decide was the first and only song I attempted to learn on the guitar.
Ah.
When You're Gone is a beautiful song.
Yes.
What's your Cranberry deep dive? Never
should.
done it.
Salvation. I mean,
Cranberries are amazing.
yes. All these songs are great. There's another one on there that every December 8th comes around, I have to play it. I Just Shot John Lennon. It's, basically just a storytelling of the night John Lennon was killed. But old Dolores, her voice is
Instantly recognizable.
instantly
yeah.
recognizable and very difficult to duplicate.
Yeah, it's weird that I've never done a Cranberries deep dive because they have a kind of... Nobody sounds like the Smiths, but this definitely has more of a, I don't know, that kind of moody thing. It's obviously a different vocal delivery, but
Yeah, if your
it's
heart
kind
is
of
in
like, oh, what
pain-
if there's no way that they don't love the Smiths too?
If your heart is paining, her voice will sing for you. If you're pissed off about something, her voice will scream exactly what you need to be screaming, or make you feel what you need to be feeling. Cranberries are fucking great. It's really sad that she left us way, way, way too soon.
But I imagine they have a lot of albums, but those 2 are, obviously the most popular. Salvation is the 3rd most famous single.
I mean,
Really?
I would assume so, based on how often I hear these songs in the wild.
They did 5 between 93 and 2001,
Oh, damn.
and then took basically a break and didn't release another one until 2012.
I didn't think that they even went that far.
Yeah,
I
I was
figured
gonna
it was
say, I
like
thought they
maybe
were
like
a decade
a
off.
2 or 3 record thing. But
And then the 5 years later, they released basically a greatest hits type thing, but was unplugged in orchestral versions of
that's
songs. So they were slightly different. And then they were actually recording a new album when Dolores passed away. I've listened to the album, and you can definitely tell that they had not finished everything. So, looking at it critically, it is not the best album.
also, whose best album is their last album? Unless, unless they disbanded on like album 2 or something, or 3. The last Black Sabbath album is not the best Black Sabbath album.
The last Evanescence album is not the best Evanescence album.
I mean, I don't know if there is one, but that's just a personal opinion.
The first one's the only good one.
I don't know. I'm not so sure.
Hey, it's
got
equal parts emo and screamo in it, man.
If Ben Moody's not on the album, then it shouldn't be called Evanescence to begin with.
I can't believe that I didn't know you guys were Evanescence fans.
Hey.
Amy Lee should just call her fucking albums Amy Lee.
Yes.
Damn.
Ben Moody.
I was taking a turn
was
that I
the
wasn't ready for. I believe you. Is he kind of like when
he was the songwriter
when Matt Sharp left Weezer and they never made another good record?
No, Ben Moody was the songwriter, and it just like everything about Evanescence was he hired Amy Lee to be the singer.
Okay. I didn't know this was such a hot button issue. I just never liked any of the songs that I heard, so I never.
I'm not saying that it's an amazing album by any means.
Yeah, but you enjoy it.
I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was at the time.
Yeah.
It's not something that I.
It's one of those I throw it on every now and then just to have a throwback to the early 2000s, to have a flashback in my mind of Daredevil or Elektra or whichever movie it was that Bring Me to Life was on. Yeah, but we're not talking about them. We're talking about Cranberries.
That's right.
Cranberries are fucking amazing.
Yeah, that last album, they had already announced their tour dates on that last album, and I bought tickets to the Denver show.
So it's like the Judds before the Judds reunion.
Yeah,
final
I was
tour.
both because Cranberries are my wife's favorite band.
Oh wow!
She absolutely loves Dolores. Like Dolores's solo albums, you should even check those out.
That's how my sister was.
So you're also very familiar with the Cranberries.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Very familiar.
Yeah, I mean, it's your wife's favorite band. There's no way you haven't heard it all.
I mean, they were songs of my high school years, so...
I always liked the singles a lot, but I never listened to the records. I got to do the deep dive.
Yeah, Cranberries were one of those great road trip selections. Just because you have your jam music, you have your emotional stuff, and then you just have the ride with your hand doing the little thing through the waves out the window. Yeah, it's...
Considering that how alternative it is, it's kind of crazy how big of those songs were as like radio songs, because they're like kind of weird. I don't think they're weird because I listen to a lot of weird music, but they're not very like typical for like radio rock.
I think without the Cranberries, there wouldn't have been a lot of the late 90s artists or female artists that we had, because Dolores caught people's attention and
for sure.
wouldn't let go.
The voice is absolutely unmistakable.
And then you had,
I think it's a very good like in between your U2 and your more extreme alternative. It's like right there in the middle.
Because it has some like shoegazy vibes in it, and then it has the Britpop vibes, like I said, Smiths or U2. The moodier earlier ones, not as much Oasis in there, but there's no way that
actually it's a pretty good replacement for U2, because when these albums were coming out, basically U2 had gone to their disco tech album stuff, which
they've done a lot,
which was just weird. But this was more of like what U2 fans kind of the stuff
that everybody. The reason that they're one of the biggest bands on the planet is more similar to this sound than stuff they've released since then.
Well, let's talk some wrestling,
shall we?
We get the Nitro intro with the flames going down the street, into the logo.
Such a good intro.
Eric Bischoff then welcomes us to the show, and he's joined by Steve Mongo McMichael and Bobby the Brain Heenan. And they discuss the matches of the show.
It's always funny because when we do a Nitro, I'm like, oh yeah, Bischoff and Mongo, because we don't see them very often as we typically watch just the pay-per-views, and it's like, oh, well, they're not really around. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is the television flavor. Weird.
Mongo.
But we then go straight to our first match. Harlem Heat of Booker T and Stevie Ray versus Sting and Lex Luger for the WCW World Tag Team Championships. And Eric tells us that this is actually a rematch from WCW Saturday Night. Jimmy Hart had been in Harlem Heat's corner during that match and had thrown the towel in, costing them the match.
Okay, see, I missed the part where they were saying that he was in their corner. I just heard something about a towel being thrown in. Like, who? Why? Huh?
Eric may have not technically said exactly who he was in the corner of, because Eric's not a very good...
Anything,
exactly. But I did find this information out. But the match gets going as Stinger starts it off with some arm work, only for Booker to escape with a hook kick. But Sting comes right back with a clothesline that turns Booker T inside out. The Stinger continues with a body slam and a jumping elbow drop for a 2 count. Brings Lex in for a double back elbow for a near fall. Booker then escapes Luger's grasp with a rake of the eyes and brings Stevie Ray in to work over Lex. Luger avoids a charge into the corner and he starts laying it in on Stevie before bringing Sting in for a double clothesline. The two teams trade holds, turnbuckle smashes, shoulder tackles, drop kicks, and second rope double axe handles as we head to commercial. When we return, Sting is escaping a Booker T hold with elbows, only to be dropped with a side slam. Follows up with an elbow drop that the Stinger avoids, so Booker spin-a-roonies up into a leaping leg lariat. Booker T doesn't make a cover, instead poses for the crowd, but he finally gets a 2 count.
like the heel he is.
Stevie hits a bicycle kick that gets a near fall on Sting, works him over in the corner with right hands and a headlock, and Booker comes back in to send the Stinger to the ropes, only for both men to hit clotheslines for a double KO. And Sting makes the crawl to the corner for the hot tag. Luger comes in with multiple clotheslines to everybody, a power slam to Stevie Ray, and makes a cover, only for Booker T to break it up. Everybody's in the ring now brawling, when the Stinger gets dumped out to the floor, allowing Harlem Heat to hit a powerbomb top rope elbow drop combo. Jimmy Hart then runs down to the ring with a towel in hand, and he throws it into the ring. But Booker catches it before it hits the mat and throws it back out. Stevie then rolls to the floor and grabs Jimmy to throw him into the ring to Booker T. But all this distraction allows Sting to come back in and roll up Booker for the pin and the win.
So they've been doing this, the Sting Lex thing. Is Lex gonna turn? Is Lex gonna turn? Did they really tease that in this match? Jimmy Hart was associated with Lex, and then Lex backed him off recently. And now is he playing the other side, to keep the tag belt on Lex?
I don't know why Jimmy Hart is doing this.
Yeah, or is Lex still are they still teasing him as a heel?
Gave him a
Jimmy was Lex's manager.
Yeah, but Lex eventually, because they did the will they? Willie won't he?
Spoiler alert: there's a whole Jimmy Lex Luger thing that happens at the next pay-per-view, so maybe there is concerns. Like the reason he's throwing in the towel in for Harlem Heat is to help Lex.
Yeah, I just couldn't tell they didn't seem like they teased the Lex turn as much as they had been laying it on thick recently, but just asking the hard-hitting questions, I guess.
I mean,
there's no hard-hitting answers.
They're not telling us any of the story, so
heels do heel things. Heel managers are even bigger heels to their heel team sometimes. I don't know.
We then go to our second match, Fire and Ice, of Scott Norton and Ice Train versus the Steiner brothers of Rick and Scott Steiner. And the last time we saw the Steiners was at Gangsta's Paradise, episode 166.
Damn, it has been a while.
A little bit.
Scott Norton at World War III 95, episode 173. And Ice Train at Havoc 93.
Damn.
Episode 103.
Yeah.
Was he Ice Train back then, or was he someone different?
Yeah, he was still Ice Train back then. This is actually Fire and Ice's debut as a team.
Scott Norton, tired of living in Japan?
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. I mean,
Got him on contract to come work WCW.
I mean, yeah.
Probably Eric's like, we need to justify paying this guy this money, so put him in a tag team.
Yeah, I mean, he's more famous for his Japanese work than anything else, right?
Yep.
He's Scott Norton.
So the commentators talk about how the Steiners will be on opposite teams at Slamboree. So I'm guessing that they already decided on what the teams are going to be.
For Slamboree. Because they tease
probably
it.
a smart idea.
Yeah, they tease it in the first match as well. They say that Lex is teaming with Hawk because Hawk and Animal will be Slamboree as well on opposite teams. Or on different teams, same as the Steiner brothers. So that got me scared. Because I was like, random tag team tournament?
Lethal lottery.
We've
Lottery,
seen this before.
Does not work out well. But
we'll see how it
put
goes.
the teams
in the
together
future.
beforehand,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe it'll be better.
I
We've seen
mean,
them
there's
with
no
their-
way there's no way it could be worse. Is all I'm
Seen
saying.
them with their random draw on the fly, and it's never really been a success. So maybe this one will be different.
Gotta be.
So the match gets going with Ice and Rick feeling each other out until Ice Train nails a power slam and an avalanche splash in the corner.
Big boys doing big boy things.
Ice goes for a second one, only for Rick to move and drill Ice Train with a release German.
Oof.
Scott and Norton both tag in and square off with fire no-selling shoulder blocks, only to be taken down with a T-bone suplex. Steiner continues with an overhead belly-to-belly suplex that sends Norton to the floor, but Scott returns him to the ring before coming off the top rope, only for Fire to catch and press slam Steiner down to the mat.
I mean, this is what you want from four big boys.
Yes.
Is them to just cut the bullshit, don't work the wrist, just slam each other around.
Yep.
Yeah, trade suplexes because I believe you can take it.
Norton hits multiple clotheslines before going for about the third one, only to be caught and hot-shotted across the top rope. Rick tags in and goes for a back elbow, only to just bounce off Fire, before Ice comes in to hip toss Steiner. Scott runs into a clothesline from Ice Train, and everybody is now in the ring, with Rick being thrown to the floor by Fire, while Ice hits a big boot and nearly steps on Scott. Ice Train then continues with a press slam of Steiner, but he telegraphs a back body drop, allowing Scott to set up for a Tiger Driver, only for Norton to roll back in to break it up with a clothesline. Fire takes Scott over to the floor with another clothesline, while Rick has rolled in to deliver a Steiner line to Ice for the pin and the win. I was kind of shocked that it was just a Steiner line that won the match.
I think it was because he caught him off guard, but yeah, it was like they did. At least it wasn't like he didn't like see him come in or they didn't like reverse whip. He like just kind of caught him off guard. But I was surprised too. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. But I mean, it's
not
just a clothesline.
I wasn't expecting to see a Steiner screwdriver with these four guys, but maybe the top rope bulldog. Maybe.
I guess it just got to be short and sweet, big power move match because, I will say that they made both those guys look strong.
I mean, everyone looks strong in this match.
Yeah, it's just like the clothesline finish doesn't look strong, but if you got to do it fast, at least a surprise. I don't remember if it was to the back of his head. If it was, then that's smart enough.
That was to the back of the head.
I know it was a surprise. Like Ice Train wasn't ready for it, so if you got him to the back of the head, that's good. Good for a couple minutes anyway.
Absolutely. Mean Gene then brings the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, Woman, and Miss Elizabeth out to the stage area. And Nate is asked about any reservations he is having about tonight's match, and he responds with, "Look at these ladies. Does it look like I'm worried?" And Woman says that the Giant is a small man compared to the champ, while Liz agrees, followed by Flair telling the Giant to come and get it. And probably Flair's worst promo we've ever seen.
It's not a great one.
That old woman, won't you marry me now? And ex-Mrs. Savage, now Miss Elizabeth. I don't know why he said that, because she's always been Miss Elizabeth.
It's not concise at all. But, I mean,
I mean,
He's probably got a lot to think about, a lot on his mind at the moment.
If you literally need to waste 3 minutes on a show, having Flair do a promo is usually pretty solid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He comes out there with the intensity and, kind of Ultimate Warriors it up with just random words at times and a woo. But, I mean, when you're getting ready to face the Giant who can't seem to form many sentences together, anything that you do is probably going to be okay.
He's very good at rhyming.
That's honestly his gimmick, is that he's big and he rhymes.
Yeah. If I could request he talk in rhyme, I'd ask him to do it all the time.
Jeez.
We go to commercial, but when we come back, we get a video showing ice breaking with the words, "Blood runs cold," and a very Mortal Kombat logo.
I know.
Comes on the screen with "Coming to WCW" at the bottom.
What's funny is I was like, oh yeah, Mortal Kombat, but my first thought when they showed the weird logo was like, this looks like some Sequest shit. And I was like, oh, wait a second, I know what this is.
You're going to wish it was.
It's not the ice train.
It is not the ice train.
No. Stay tuned.
The ice train's here.
Yep. Also, get your WCW magazine to find out the real deal between Liz and Randy. If there is a plot to end Hulkamania and an exclusive interview with Medusa.
Wait a minute, I thought there already was a plot to take down.
There's always a plot to end Hulkamania, which is
there
the
was
whole
an
reason for
alliance at
Hulkamania.
the last pay-per-view.
The whole reason for Hulkamania is that there's constantly a plot to end Hulkamania.
And we know what the real
and it
deal
never
is.
ends.
They got divorced.
Yep. Mm-hmm. They've been divorced since almost around the time that they got fake married on TV.
Well, we come back and we go to our third match. Lord Steven Regal versus Belfast Bruiser in a parking lot brawl. So the two men are literally in a parking lot surrounded by a few cars and guardrails to hold the fans back.
Yeah, the cars are kind of parked like a Target or a Cross, where it's like north, south, east, west, all facing each other.
Is this their answer to the Gold Dust, Roddy Piper?
It might be.
That's what I thought too, and I was like, I liked the match that they had last time, and now you're gonna put a gimmick on it that it doesn't need. I'd like to see these two in the ring, but either way, since I really enjoyed that last match, even though they didn't have the greatest finish, these guys really went hard at each other. So I was, my interest is piqued.
Bruiser immediately slams Lord Steven headfirst into the hood of a car, opens a door to ram Regal's head, leaving Lord Steven against the car. So Finlay goes for a big boot, only for Regal to move, sending Bruiser's foot through the window.
I mean, they're not fucking around.
No, nice little start already.
I know, it's like, damn, he really put his foot straight through that tiny window.
Lord Steven takes control, throwing Finlay into a couple of the cars, but a headbutt allows Bruiser to break free and grab a cinder block, only for Regal to kick it out of his hand, followed by grinding Finlay's face into it. More brawling between the two when Bruiser slams Lord Steven's head into an open tailgate, grabs a tire and rams it into Regal's ribs multiple times.
I mean, they kicked Cactus Jack out because they were scared he was going to hurt himself. Now we're doing this?
Yeah.
He would have loved to do this.
Lord Steven's head takes a bumper off of a Chevy Blazer, so Finlay uses it as a weapon, until he body slams Regal onto a different car's hood. Lord Steven fights back to smash Bruiser's head into a GMC, before climbing up to drop an elbow. Back on their feet, Regal's hitting some knees, but they get close enough to the driver's seat that Finlay grabs the seatbelt to begin choking Lord Steven.
They're really using every part of the car. It's like a Native American tribe in a buffalo out here.
More brawling with Bruiser dropping Regal onto a guardrail, but he fights back for them to make their way into the bed of a truck, where both guys smash the other's head onto the roof. And they climb their way onto the hood, where it looks like Finlay wants to go for a faceplant, but there isn't enough room for Regal to do that safely, so they just fall off to the concrete.
I mean, they did the right thing.
Bruiser smashes Lord Steven's head into a side mirror and into a window that doesn't break.
Ouch.
With Bischoff threatening to force the camera to pull back as this is getting out of control.
Yep, there's blood on Steven Regal's shirt, and Eric, he says it over and over again. He's like, I want to tell the camera guys, pull wide. I'm telling you now. And he just keeps coming back and saying, it's like, we need to pull wide, guys. I don't want to get kicked off of television. He does everything but say, I don't want to get kicked off television.
Did Eric not watch their last match? Because I could have saw this coming.
I'm like, it's cars. Like, you're slamming your head into cars.
And these two guys aren't going to, they're not going to, Hogan and Giant it.
No.
They're wrestlers.
Yeah, these are professionals.
Yeah.
Regal starts to fight back and tosses Finlay into a car door that ends up breaking the window before delivering some jabs, but a poke to the eyes give the Bruiser some distance.
Pull wider, please.
Only for Lord Steven to grab the bumper to smash across Finlay's ribs. Bruiser fights back to kick away the bumper, and he headbutts Regal back towards the vehicle before climbing up to drop another elbow on the hood. Finlay picks Lord Steven up for a tombstone on the concrete, but he's able to escape as the cameras pull wide because Bischoff thinks this is too gruesome. And Bruiser has his head slammed into the hood of a car before being dragged up onto it as well, where Regal sets up for a pile driver, but Finlay reverses and back body drops Lord Steven onto the top of the vehicle.
Nice.
Bruiser slams Regal's head onto the car again, before grabbing a waistlock for a suplex. But Lord Steven, with a low blow mule kick, allows him to hit the pile driver on top of the vehicle and makes a cover for the pin and the win.
Mule kick right to the shillelagh.
I know some used car salesmen that this should happen to.
Post-match, Finlay grabs the bumper and wants to keep going after Regal, but the ref slows him as we head to commercial, with Bobby yelling that that's his rental car.
I mean, I would have preferred this in a ring, but they went further than I expected them to, especially on TV.
Yes.
Also, it's like these guys aren't super, or neither of them are over in WCW. Like, Steven's been a pretty decent heel that catches boos and stuff, but you're going to put him in a match with cars and you don't expect him to go hard like they did the last time. Like, this is how you make people interested in your matches.
Yep. I mean, hell, you saw what he was like when he was in the ring with Inoki. Yeah. It wasn't the greatest match, but you could tell Regal wanted to get in there and do some shit.
Yeah.
But he was just in there with an old man.
They got their working boots on.
Yeah. This is like, modern day Sheamus and Gunther or whatever, just getting in there and beating the shit out of each other because they know, A, that's what we're paid to do, and B, that's what people want to fucking see. Give them what they want.
He's the Belfast Bruiser. Yeah. Regal's got to meet him there. It's not gonna. This isn't a catch match.
Yeah.
This isn't Regal and Alex Wright.
That's right. He's not the Chicago Street Fighter. He's the Belfast Bruiser.
It's all in the name. It's all right there.
So we go to our fourth match, the Giant with Jimmy Hart versus the Nature Boy Ric Flair with Miss Elizabeth and Woman for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. So you're probably thinking that this is the title shot that the Giant won for beating Loch Ness at Uncensored. Remember that? Made him the number one contender.
I'm not going to lie. I try to forget as much as possible.
I mean, we all try and forget that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you said Loch Ness.
Fee, fi, fo, fum, I'm going to come for your title, bub.
But that match was to be the number one contender. But this match is not that match. They had actually had that match the day after Uncensored.
Yeah.
During that match, Arn Anderson would come down with a chair and whack the Giant over the back. Kevin Sullivan would be there because Giant's in the Dungeon of Doom. And he would rip the chair away from Arn Anderson. So when the Giant turned, he thought the Taskmaster had done the deed. So Sullivan went for a ride with a choke slam, and the ref threw out the match.
Oh.
So it was a no contest, basically.
So has he left the Dungeon of Doom at this point?
At this point, he has still not left the Dungeon of Doom.
Okay. I'm sure, I guess he apologized. I guess Kevin Sullivan was very persuasive at apologizing.
He just wants Jimmy, I guess.
We move forward a couple weeks. On Nitro, the previous week to this one, the Giant and Nate had teamed up for a match for the tag belts, only to see Woman hand the Nature Boy a cup of coffee to throw in Sting and Luger's face. But they would duck and the coffee would splash all over the Giant, causing him to get pissed off and want another title shot.
Oh, okay.
And
So that's all it takes.
That's how we're
That's
at
all.
this match.
That's all it
I'm going to
takes.
spill my coffee on somebody or wait, no. I'm going to spill somebody's coffee on me so I can get a title shot. That's all
Well,
you
he
need.
threw it,
And-
and it ended up landing on
Oh,
the
yeah.
Giant.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's all it takes is I'm going to throw coffee on you by accident. So here, have a championship match. Throw away.
I guess the other one was a DQ. So whatever.
Poor Giant.
We're jumping hoops here
Yeah. mhm.
with storylines, guys.
Yeah.
I'm just laying them out for you. So as Flair makes his way to the ring, he stops by a young lady to talk to her because, we can't have enough women at his side. That woman happens to be Deborah McMichael. But she tells him to leave her alone.
I forgot what Deborah kind of looked like when she first started before the extra plastic surgery that happens over the years. She actually had that, I don't know, youthful. She's already had some work done, but she just had a more youthful,
She was young.
almost natural look to her.
I recognized her immediately, so she never got so much work. I don't know what she looks like now. That she was unrecognizable because I know her from Attitude Era.
Oh yeah, but it's like looking at I almost said Jenny McCarthy.
Missy.
At Pamela Anderson.
Okay.
From when she first
From
started up
93
as
to
the-
98 or whatever.
Yeah, when she first started out as the Tool Time girl, and then was in Barbed Wire.
Yeah.
Just those few years in between there's a whole lot of changes that went on, and Deborah kind of mimics that later on.
But the match gets going with Nate stalling early on before trying several shoulder blocks and chops, which obviously don't work. When the Giant would press slam the Nature Boy and whip him to the corner for a Flair flip to the floor. The Giant would give chase around ringside and back into the ring, where Nate would deliver a thumb to the eye. Nature Boy tries chops, but the Giant continues to no-sell and whip Flair to the corner, charging in with a back elbow, only for Nate to avoid. The Nature Boy heads to the top rope, where the Giant press slams him off to the mat, hitting a vertical suplex and goes for the choke slam, only for Flair to have his arms and legs tied up in the ropes to block. Liz and Woman jump up on the apron to distract the ref, allowing Nate to hit Giant's fee-fi-foes
Foam.
to take him off his feet. And the Nature Boy continues with rights and lefts, but the Giant continuously just shoves him away. Jimmy Hart's now climbed up onto the apron to explain to the ref about the low blow, which allows Flair to grab some brass knucks from his knee pads. And the Giant makes it back to his feet, only to be dropped right back down with a shot to the face. And Nate does some strutting before locking on the figure four. But the Giant sits up and grabs the Nature Boy by the throat,
Because he's that tall.
lifting him up to hit a choke slam for the pin and the win. And new!
Bummer.
Post-match, Mean Gene comes into the ring to interview the new champion. And the Giant addresses Hulk, Sting, Luger, and Savage. Come one, come all. At the hands of the Giant, you doggone sure you're gonna fall.
Oh my god.
Okerlund sends it to our commentators to review what we just saw. And they announce that the Giant will face Sting at Slamboree before saying their goodbyes. And we fade to black. So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of Monday Night Nitro?
Way to piss all over the figure four. I know he's tall, but he's in the figure four and he just sits up and then reaches across because he's tall enough and grabs him by the neck so it breaks it. And then from there he stands up and choke slams him 1, 2, 3. I think it's interesting that he's tall enough to do that.
It made me wonder if he was tall enough where he could have just grabbed him and chokeslammed him while he was still sitting down.
Oh,
That would have been
a hell of a visual.
But yeah, I don't think. He is that tall, but I don't know how tall he is sitting down with Ric Flair standing up.
Yeah.
If it would look right or if it would just sour everything. Yeah,
it had to happen eventually.
This wasn't a terrible episode. It had some stuff and some things. You've got a title change that wasn't reversed in scandal like his last one. Let me flip back through my pages
They're
here.
like, well, he's not going to be able to take it from Hogan. Put it on the Giant. Then when Hogan gets back from vacation or shooting Suburban Commando 2, he'll have a big monster to beat that already took out Ric Flair and whoever else on the way. That's my immediate thought.
Yeah, I mean, they basically were just building us up for the failing on me. Slamboree. There we go.
Yeah, but why is Sting? When did Sting?
Because they're tag team champions.
But that makes you number one contender.
Oh, that I don't know.
She's like, who's the next most over guy in the company that's not Ric
there's
Flair
really
or Hogan?
5 main eventers.
Yeah.
In WCW, and
we already
Hogan's off shooting.
Yeah. Lex is already on a team.
Well, Lex is with Sting.
Well, no, I mean, but for the Lethal Lottery.
Lex is in the Lethal Lottery.
Yeah.
Flair's in the Lethal Lottery,
but Sting's bigger than Lex. He never left. That's the thing about Sting. It's like he is Mr. WCW. Yeah. As far as that goes, he is.
I skipped over you here on these last
think
pay-per-views. Hogan's not here, so go ahead and get in the main event.
Who has the best matches with super heavyweights? Sting.
Yeah, I mean,
It's Sting!
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I was like, well, I don't want to see Lex versus the Giant. Yeah. Sting versus the Giant is the best possible option.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's plain and simple.
Which is obviously, I guess that's why they did it. I was just curious. I was like, I guess, he is, like I said, Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, Lex Luger, Sting.
And it's been a rule since Hogan joined
Ric Flair, that's it.
If Hogan's on a show, Sting can't be in the main event. So if Hogan's not there, go ahead and give Sting that top spot.
Because if anybody deserves it, it's Sting.
So this is the kind of episode that I remember watching and enjoying when I was a kid. Getting to see a bunch of my favorites, seeing a fight, that Regal Belfast Bruiser fight, and a title change is the way they hook you in to make you go, oh, I need to watch this show every week.
Yeah, I mean, it has to happen from time to time.
Everything on the show, I feel, is solid and continues storylines, even if they weren't completely told to us.
Yeah, even if they were not done the best.
But a lot of that, I think, is WCW at this point is just kind of treading water to get to the Great American Bash, because like Slamboree, it's the Lethal Lottery. I'm like, there's 3 matches of substance, really.
It is a B to C.
And Great American Bash
pay-per-view.
is 6 weeks away. So they're, like I said, they're just kind of treading water. So I find this episode to be enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't a hard watch, but they never are when they're this short.
No, they never are. And if you want to see Giant's first major win,
it's he.
I mean, yes, he beat Hogan, but then they took the title away, and he's not technically, he never was officially the champion.
Yeah.
Then this is his first championship win.
Fell off the side of a building for that man and still couldn't even get the belt.
Yeah.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? All right, fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of the best moments of the show?
Bischoff crapping his pants about the blood on TV was very funny. I got a big old kick out of that.
That dude, I was like, take a blood pressure pill, brother.
Yeah.
Just a little blood. That was such a hard-hitting match that it was just like... I mean, I was surprised that they were showing it on TV as well.
Yeah, this is like prime uncensored.
Put it on pay-per-view, and I mean, but as we found out, that even on pay-per-view, they're gonna go to the fucking wide shot. So
yeah, yep. But at least get yelled at, but they'll get yelled at less maybe. But yeah, I would have preferred to see it in a ring. But I think considering the how silly this was, they did about as good of a job as you can.
And for a match like that wasn't taped in advance, if it wasn't taped in advance, I'm assuming it was live.
No, it was live. There was people out there. Yeah, they just
they did a nice job on it.
Even if it was taped in advance, feels like it was taped that night. Maybe it was the first match of the show or something, so they get the other people back in the building. But either way, like it was not cinematic. It didn't have the feel. It felt a little bit more like a match than our Gold Dust Piper thing, which we still had a good amount of fun with considering. But this, this was contained. I mean, I love the big boy tag teams throwing each other around.
Yes.
It was only a couple minutes, but everybody got off a big power move or two.
Oh, yeah. It was a good introduction for Scott Norton to people who weren't familiar with him.
And Scott Norton, he knows the Steiner brothers.
Yeah.
They worked together plenty on elsewhere, so, those four guys know how to throw together
the Steiner brothers had only been back for a couple weeks at this time. I mean, it's our first time we've seen them in quite some time.
Yeah, I was excited.
So it's always fun to see the Steiner brothers.
Yep. Yeah. And don't worry, they're going to...
As their favorites of ours.
Break them up for a 4-hour pay-per-view.
How about most disappointing? Flair promo.
The Flair
promo. I mean, Flair losing the belt stinks, but it's not like I didn't think he was...
I think it's hilarious.
The Giant run.
It's not like it wasn't telegraphed to me.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but the Giant got cheers when he won the belt.
Yes.
I literally think it's because Flair is always basically a heel. But
he also is hiding behind women.
But the Giant is a heel as well. Yeah. It was a heel match.
Yeah.
Because, I mean...
Yeah.
Dungeon of Doom is heel.
Jimmy Hart is heel.
Yeah. So it's,
it is weird to see a heel match.
You never see a heel match, but I mean, Flair will have them more often than anybody else just because he can really work whichever.
Flair.
Yeah, exactly. But I just thought it was... So it was disappointing to hear the crowd cheer a Flair loss.
I mean, yeah.
It doesn't really matter. We all know that this belt's going to end up back on Hogan's waist as soon as he comes back. So, like...
Starrcade.
Whenever they move this belt around, it's like, whatever.
Yeah. And it's like, well, we might as well try to get over this big guy that we've been...
Like, if we can call him a former world champion the next time he faces Hogan or whatever, it puts a little bit more oomph on his resume. Basically.
Yeah, if you can make your top guys 6 instead of 5, that's no small feat. Most companies don't have more than 4 or 5 top guys at any given time, and that's still a lot for most companies at any given time.
I mean, they could definitely... Every company could have more. They just don't.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you can't have 10 top guys, but you should probably have at least 5 or 6.
Like for early 2000s WWE.
I mean, yeah, but that's why they're here today.
Oh, was it the SmackDown 7? Is that what it was? Or SmackDown 6? It was either 6 or 7. Like, it was 6 or 7 guys that literally carried SmackDown in, like, the early 2000s.
Yeah, because then you had...
Because it was Benoit, Eddie...
Taker.
Was Edge part of that group yet?
Yeah.
I think Edge was coming up.
Kurt Angle.
Yeah. So it was like... I mean, the Elimination Chamber were good matches back then because, like, literally you did not know who was going to come out of the match.
As much as they hot potatoed back then, it was...
It was okay because
anyone's game.
Yeah, everybody was over.
Yeah, you had former champion going after former champions.
Anything else disappointing, guys?
Well,
there's not really anything that's just outright disappointing on this show.
Mongo's always a disappointment, but even he was just... Yeah, he was passable on this one. Sticking up for his wife and, talking shit about Flair.
How about best performer of the night?
Who do I want to
Bruiser?
give this to?
Regal?
Bruiser or Regal? I mean, I don't know. Both guys are very, very impressive. I mean, I don't feel like the second tag match was really long enough because all 4 of those guys delivered for the 2 minutes they were in the ring. But those guys did a great job with something that dumb and made it look like a fight. So I'll let them, share the best performer tag team belt.
All we know is it's not Bischoff.
No.
Keep the camera on him.
That's right.
How are you going to win the ratings? They're not so ratings war at the moment. Because they're both pretty, low in views, I believe.
You know what wins ratings? Blood.
How about most surprising? I mean, were you surprised at the title change?
No, I had a feeling that's why we're going to watch it. I knew that the Giant wins the belt early in his career, and, I know I actually want it. not the like weird, Hogan kerfuffle type shit.
Kerfuffle.
It was okay for I guess a TV match with Ric Flair and a big giant. I don't know what to call it, but it happened, and it happened on TV, and maybe people will, pay to see Sting.
I'll say I'm surprised there wasn't more shenanigans in the main event.
True.
That is true. I mean,
we had everybody all the managers jumping on the apron to distract.
A nut shot.
And a brass knucks.
Brass knucks, and he did hide behind the girls at one point, but of course he did. But yeah, so it's like they did all the things, I guess, that you kind of would have done with the exception of like Arn or something coming out.
Yeah. I was surprised we didn't have a double A run in.
Yeah.
But, it only had a few minutes, really.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that...
They'll tape it and show it to us next week.
Yeah, there wasn't the winner of this match faces Sting at the pay-per-view earlier in the show. It was said as the camera was about to shut off. I think that was the only time I remember hearing it.
Yeah, like you said, it's just like, oh, well,
it's like new
Sting,
champion, but who's he going to face?
He called out the other main eventers. Oh, I guess Savage is there too. So I guess there's 6 main eventers.
But like you said, I'd much rather see Sting versus the Giant.
Macho is weird, but
yeah.
Macho hasn't felt like a main eventer in WCW
he feels
at all.
He feels like a step above like Hacksaw at this point.
I don't know if I go that low. But...
I mean, the way that like Hacksaw gets reactions in WCW and is like kind of booked decently in the middle of the card, whether you like it or not, and he just feels like the step above there, but he doesn't feel like Flair or Sting does.
Yeah.
Or the Giant, for that matter, obviously. He's the new champion.
Making their way to the ring!
It's trivia time!
Oh, shite.
This week, the category is TikTok.
Tick-tock on the clock, but the party don't stop, no.
So the closest to the time will score 5 points. It's not Price is Right rules, so it's whoever's closest to the time.
Okay.
The show was Spring Stampede 94, and the match was the Nasty Boys versus Cactus Jack and Max Payne for the WCW Tag Team Championships in a Chicago street fight.
Okay.
We're going with how long the match is.
How long the match was.
Here, let me enter my number on here so we
don't
can't build off each other.
Yeah, that's fair for sure.
Plus, it's easier for me to do math if I can see it.
I'll go for...
Regis, my answer is locked.
We'll say... let's change it to this.
All right, let's see those times. Shane has 9 minutes and 43 seconds. Michael has 12 minutes and 48 seconds. Shane gets the points.
Oh, what was it?
As the time was 8 minutes and 58 seconds.
Damn. That was close.
I figured,
My original number was 8:02. I'm like, that's a little slow.
I gave him a little more time because I was thinking, I was like, maybe
street fight.
It was since it was a street fight, I gave him a couple more minutes. But
my thought
it was that would have been a long street fight for these 4 guys. Probably second
I can't
match.
remember Max Payne having more than a 10-minute match. So
He probably
point. Yeah, Max Payne should have been.
He shouldn't have a match longer than 10 minutes.
The only person that has a shorter stint is maybe PN News. Remember PN News?
Oh, PN. He had some good moments with old Stunning Steve, though.
Oh.
We got new guys to do that now, and there's 2 of them.
Next
They're better than
week.
PN News.
Are they?
Yes, they are, unfortunately.
Next week, a matter of respect.
It's a matter of respect.
So we're headed to Philly for that one.
Oh, yay, we're back in Philly.
So the music for this week's show is Firestorm. I found what the actual title of the Nitro theme song was. And Giant won our main event, so we play his theme music, The Dungeon of Doom by Jimmy Hart.
I don't even know what it sounds like.
There's like a laughing
Yeah,
person in the
Taskmaster
background.
laughs. It's literally the only reason why I knew he was still in The Dungeon of Doom was because that was the theme song that played.
Yeah.
If you like this episode or any of our other ones, please go out there, rate and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you find your podcast at. Do as Michael says.
5 stars or no stars. Come on. It's a matter of respect.
And if you have any questions, comments, concerns,
Philly food ideas, you watched this show and you had a totally different take on us, you should slide into our DMs. Something. Just communicate with us. Talk to us. We want to know what you're thinking.
but you can do that on our email at wrestlinghistoryx@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTOX. We'll talk to you next week.
So I did what I did when I said laters.